Toasties. I'm Missy, here with my bestie Johnsy.
Hey y'all.
And welcome to our Toasted Shenanigans. This is a different kind of toasted shenanigans. We're starting like this little mini series within our podcast right now.
Yes, we are. I'm enjoying it though.
It was completely unintentional, but it has to happen.
It does. It does. Things need to be discussed.
They need to be discussed, and it's just, I don't know. It is a fun time right now.
I love spooky season. It's always spooky season to me, but I love it when everybody else acknowledges it. It makes it more special.
Well, I think it should be acknowledged more than just once a month, but that's just me.
I think it should be acknowledged every day.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are.
Yeah. What you drinking over there?
I'm double fisting today.
Oh, you're pulling a
Because
meat.
I couldn't decide. So I've got a Hardywood made in Richmond, local. Okay. It's a dark lager.
You like those?
It's good. It's like, I'd give it a 7. I could drink that on a daily basis. And then I haven't tried this one yet, but I'm excited to. This one's a scary good pumpkin ale, and it's called Rosemary's Baby.
You and your
Look at
pumpkin.
the can.
It's a cute can. I was like, I bet you only picked it partially because it's a pumpkin ale and you like your pumpkins.
Yes, I do.
And it probably had a cute can.
Yep. And it's made by, I guess, Two Roads. But
I like, how's that little, what are those called? Prams? Ooh.
It's spicy and a little sour. That's not what it said. It said pumpkin ale brewed with spices and aged rum barrels with vanilla beans. There's no fucking vanilla in this. But I can get through the rest of this can, but I wouldn't recommend it. So I'll put that at a 3.
Spicy as in clovey?
Yeah.
Or cardamom, maybe?
Clovey and... No, definitely just clovey. If they put any other ones, you can't taste it because it's very clovey.
My other thing also would have been cinnamon. Cinnamon could be spicy.
No, I can't taste the cinnamon.
Clovey.
It's definitely clovey.
Well, okay.
But
I wouldn't drink either. And I definitely am not touching that pumpkin one after that face. Your face was like...
It's got a cute can.
Oh, yeah, it has a little baby carriage on it. It is cute.
What you got?
Mead. I got the Swedish...
Mr. Klaus.
Yep, I got the Swedish fish one from the Funktastic Mead. So we're recording this obviously in advance. So by the time y'all are listening to it, I would have already attended a mead festival.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So, and the guy who does the Funktastic Mead is, I think he's the one who's kind of like organizing it. If not, he's really promoting it, and he's like really helping get the other mead people around Virginia in it. So I can't tell you how much fun it was because I wasn't there yet. And even but when you listen to this, I would either be going or I had been there already. So the next episode, I'll tell you guys all about it. I'm excited to try all the different meads. I've really become fond of mead in general. I think it's really yummy.
You have.
I've really become very fond of it. It's like wine, but not, and I enjoy that because I love.
It's very sweet.
It is sweet, but I've had some that aren't sweet.
Yeah, like that one you gave me that one time, the dark one.
Yes, you do like that one, and I like that one. I do like that one. So I'm excited to try other ones. I've become quite the fan of mead, which my dad thinks is really cool because that's a very Nordic thing, apparently.
Yes, it is.
Very, very Viking, and I am
very Viking.
I'm very Norwegian.
Norwegian?
I am primarily German, and it's funny because I don't like beer, but I love the food. I love it.
German food, yeah, German food is amazing.
Oh yeah, but the second in my lineage of what DNA is Norwegian, and then a hodgepodge of other stuff behind that.
Same as the rest of us. We all got that hodgepodge. But this is completely random, but I don't know what just reminded me about it. So I'm sure you got like notifications galore about my like 10,000 reels I just sent you on Instagram.
I
But
did.
anyways,
I didn't look at them yet.
I was on Instagram when I saw this. I was like, oh, I'm going to save this for the podcast because I kind of want to know. And I want everybody else to know. So hypothetically, if I were to start a cult tomorrow, what bizarre belief or practice would it be around?
Are you asking my question? My answer?
Yes, this is for you.
Oh, okay. If you were to start a cult tomorrow, what would your belief be on? Oh shit! I have to narrow it down.
Yes,
That's the problem. Oh my gosh, I could see you going in so many different fucking directions with this.
What's the first one that pops into your head?
Planets?
Okay.
Planets.
What about planets?
They're not real. In that.
So I'd be a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
I could see that.
Pretty much. Yeah. And your first theory would be about planets and how they're not real because it's so easy to convince people of that and the fact that there's so many people out there who believe the Earth is flat. Mm-hmm. So the following you would have would be almost instant.
Do you think I would have a following?
Absolutely. It takes. We got simple-minded people out there.
Very true.
Hence why TikTok works. It's 10-second videos and people love it.
You think I'm persuasive enough?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I will have to experiment.
Oh, shit. Next episode is about Johnsy. Okay, back at you, my friend. If I was to start a cult tomorrow, what would mine be about?
Oh, for sure, 100%, like medicinal herbs and plants. Like you'd be like Dr. Witchwoman. You would be Claire from Outlander. 1,000%. You'd have your like plant hospital and whatnot. I don't know. I can't explain it. I see it in my head. There'd be ivy all over the walls, and you walk in this place like, I'm not sure if this is just abandoned or it's beautiful. Like I see it now, yes, but that would be you.
So total funny that you say that. Like, with my son's football team, anytime any of the boys get hurt, I am instantly running to the sidelines. I'm technically not supposed to be over there, but I don't care. I see a child hurt, my mama instincts I run.
Dr. Mom.
Yeah. So, so my sisters and mom were at the game that one time that I did that. And my one sister, as I'm coming back, she was like, what were you doing? Rubbing lemon balm on him? Making him feel better?
Yep, she probably was.
I did not. My lemon balm was in the car.
But it was a thought.
No, actually it wasn't.
You just didn't have time to go get to it. Excuse me.
No.
I'm burping over here.
That's hilarious, though. I love it. I also saw today on Facebook, I posted about it. It was like, what would be something that you, like, what is something you think I'd have a massive collection of or something like that? And I was like, nobody better fucking say plants. Nobody did yet because you didn't answer.
I didn't see it yet.
But I knew that would be your answer for me. Plants.
Plants.
Fuck yeah, plants and shit.
Yep.
Whatever. Okay, aside from plants, what would be something you think I'd have a weird collection of?
What's weird though?
Okay, what would I have a collection of? Most people aren't sure.
I think, okay, it's still technically kind of, well, it's part of a dead plant. I think I could see you definitely owning a collection of different kinds of coffee beans. Like I could see you being a really big coffee enthusiast.
Okay, I'll take that one.
But it's still part of plants because I could see you like actually like growing them and like roasting them. And
I thought about it.
You're just a plant woman. You are grounded with earth. You are one of nature. You're fucking Virgo. Come on.
It's not my fault that that's my sun and my moon.
Besides that, I don't. I would say bottles of mead, but I think you would drink through them before you would make a collection. I'm not sure.
I know,
Like,
right?
this is so hard.
It's a crazy one, isn't it?
What about my collection?
Aside from dead
What?
things,
Yeah, I already have that, but like, what else?
horror paraphernalia.
I have that too.
No, like legit, like if you could get your hands on Ed Gein's shit, you would have
Oh,
it.
yes. Yes. True crime paraphernalia?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Like, I want to go to that museum. And I think it's in Tennessee. We should go. But, anyways, it's like, a true crime, like, museum. I don't know the name of it or whatnot, but you get the drift. In Tennessee. And it's got, like, Ted Bundy's car
Yeah.
and
I could
all
see
that
you
kinds
being the
of shit.
person who has that museum.
Yes. Yes. 100%. Yes. Yes. I would
Kind
love
of
that.
like who we were talking about last week. So let's get ourselves
Yes.
back on track
Yeah.
here. Totally got
Back on
sidetracked.
track. Sorry.
Welcome back, guys. That was our daily tangent. Um,
The more you know.
the more you know. So recap of last week. We were talking just a little bit about a weird exorcist whatever of 1600s France, which I was like kind of thinking about it again, like this recap on that situation was just a playboy man in France who got burned at the stake for what many women in Salem got burned at the stake for. Being provocative for them, although he was sleeping with some people's ladies. And they were all panicked and scared and just had to find a reason to blame it on. And I actually found it really funny in the fact that, not funny that he died at the stake, like dude burned at the stake, is that the shit, it didn't fix the shit. They dealt with it for a few years after he died.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of like an ironic situation. And then you brought up The Conjuring.
Yes. Put you
Which
down a wormhole.
put down
Both
a
us.
oh, guys. And oh shit. I gotta stop playing with the chords.
I know you're over there getting antsy.
I went down the damn rabbit hole with this shit. So you brought up a lot of really big points there of like the Perron family and the experiences, and you asked a super good question: is can people really be possessed? And my answer is no, not in the sense of how Hollywood makes it.
Correct.
And honestly, though, after we started talking a little bit about the Perron family and the Conjuring and stuff that was going on, I really actually started doubting my feelings on what I was saying. Let me tell you, no more doubt. I was 100% correct. Oh, it's just your gut, people. I don't think that you can be possessed in a sense of what the way Hollywood does put it out there. I think actually today we meet people who are possessed. Are they possessed, like I said, in that way that they're going to be super demonic? No, because I don't. Demons are dumb, but they're not dumb. They're going to play in a way that you aren't going to catch them until it's too late.
Yeah.
And we see it every day. They're on TV. They're in places
Media.
of government. They're
Yeah.
in media. They're walking down the streets, checking out your groceries, serving you food. They are everywhere.
Uh-huh.
You just got to see them. And not everybody
Yeah.
can. And you brought up...
If anything, I think more people are possessed now
Absolutely.
than you would say in like the 1600s, because there's so much negative energy in this world. It's like that just doesn't happen on its own.
That gate is open. That
Yeah.
gate is wide the fuck open.
Exactly.
And so you brought up a lot of different things. And also, like I said, I'm just kind of recapping. So if I forget anything before we get into where we're at, please let me know. Ed and Lorraine. And how that house probably wasn't haunted until Ed and Lorraine came and did what they did.
Correct.
That they also portrayed it as like an exorcist because the mother was possessed already, supposedly. But they didn't do an exorcist. They did a seance. And you said that you're pretty sure that brought somebody in.
Correct. I think it opened the doors.
Right. And we started questioning a little bit about Ed and Lorraine and their actual abilities because there was an affair that happened? Did we talk about that? Yeah.
Yeah,
That
Ed's a piece of scum. Slept with
yeah.
a 15-year-old.
Yeah, I have more info on that. I want to talk a little bit about it. Uh-huh. So there's also some doubt about how legit the Warrens even are.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all the recap of last week's episode, right? Am I missing something?
Yeah, that was basically it.
So when we were done with that conversation, because we talked about the entity that was blamed, and I'm going to fucking use the word blamed, was
Yes.
Bathsheba.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked a little bit about Bathsheba, and that she is a real person, and she absolutely is a real person. And when we got off that episode, I was heated. Heated. My body literally was burning. And I could not let Bathsheba go.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't. Something did not set
Something
right
resonated with you.
in my body about Bathsheba. And all of you who want to still blame that poor little woman, fuck off. Fuck all the way off. She was blamed for something she did not do.
Yeah.
She did not haunt that house. She did not murder a child. Because I'm sorry. It was the time of that. With the time that happened, that she was blamed for a murder of a child to give her the child to Satan, she would have been killed.
Yeah,
She
would have
would
been
not have been let
crucified
off.
on
She would
the
have
stake. Yeah.
absolutely, abso-fucking-lutely. She's a
Well,
female who's being accused of sacrificing a child to the devil. She would not have lived.
well, also here's the thing too. After we got off that episode and we both went down our wormholes and whatnot and discovering, I read that article about that she had lived on the estate where the Conjuring House was, and that the Arnold estate was next door. But after actually doing research and opening up, property history and whatnot, it was actually the opposite way around. She lived next door, and the Arnold estate was the Conjuring House.
Right. That is what you had found. And I wanted to bring that up because I was doing more of that. Now, you did a lot more land research after we were done with that
Yes, I
episode.
did a
Because you went down a
lot
super,
of.
super big rabbit hole.
Yeah, I went deep.
Which
I
will,
traced it all the way back to the 1600s.
yeah, which we will get into that. Now, when you look up the Arnold estate, the house that pops up, when you look it up and you're under the all section of, the research, and it brings up the Conjuring.
Yeah, you have to
But
it's hard to get past that.
If you click images, the house that pops up is not the Conjuring's house. But if you type in the Conjuring House, they refer to it as the Arnold estate. So it's really confusing. So I don't know. Like I said, you did the big land research.
Yes.
I'm wondering at one point if the Arnold estate was bigger and then it broke into two spaces, and the house that popped up that I was looking at, which they called a stone end home, is very old.
Yes, there's another Arnold estate in Rhode Island.
Okay. So that must
There's
be what
two
I
of
kept.
them.
That's what
Yes.
must have been
You're
what
referring to the other one. But
Okay.
I will tell you this. The Arnold estate that is the Conjuring House was not built up as it is.
No.
So it's gotten larger over time. There's been
Yeah.
adds to the house.
Yeah, which they talked about even in a lot of the documentaries. Andrea Perron talks about how that house was clearly added on because her room had a window in it.
Correct. Yes.
But really, that window ended up looking into the other rooms. But really, it was supposed to be an outside house window. So that house has definitely had multiple add-ons put onto it. It was a big fucking house. Bathsheba was, from the research I think both of us did, was the neighbor, not the house that
she did not live on that property.
No. Bathsheba actually, hers did have a son. She had one that lived to be 70.
Okay. So it must have been Herbert?
Yes. He lived a long, normal life. The other children, the reason that they don't think that they were really accounted for, and I think you brought this up before, is because the only way that they knew people existed, they didn't have birth certificates and social security
Correct.
numbers right away. Census.
It would take up to 7 years to go into the U.S. Census at that time.
Yes. And unfortunately, those children did not live long enough to be on that census. But there were 3 other children, which their graves are right next to Bathsheba's
Correct.
grave.
Yeah, we saw the headstones, and they were all pretty much under 2 years old.
They were. So you think about the time that they were born and all that other kind of stuff, the things that were happening. It could have been anything that killed those poor babies. Illness, simple illnesses. You got the flu. There's a picture that they think is Bathsheba. There's actually no confirmation that picture that Ed and Lorraine like to share, saying, "Oh, there's
Yeah, and
Bathsheba."
produced. Yeah,
But she's wearing a surgical mask in this picture.
which is from the Spanish flu,
The flu. Yeah,
which that's the wrong time.
right.
That happened
is
later.
that is the description. There's actually no physical pictures of Bathsheba at all that anybody can actually prove are hers. So there's no proof that picture that they're circulating is Bathsheba.
They wouldn't even be taking pictures at that point.
Exactly.
It wasn't.
Exactly.
I mean, I think maybe it would have been a tool on the west side of the country at that point in time where you started seeing photographs, but at that point in time, it wasn't. That
Maybe.
was way too early. Way too early.
Now, Bathsheba, the only thing I will give Bathsheba is actually she was a Thayer before she was a Sherman, which the Thayers is a big, well-known name. Very, very apparently rich, fancy name. And she left that to be with just a basic farmer. So the only crime that poor woman committed is that she chose back in the day lower than her. But she was happy. She had her one son, unfortunately. The other one's passed away. And she died of complications of a fucking stroke, which they then called, as you said, stone disease, because she had paralysis,
Yeah.
which is just she froze up a
So
lot.
that she turned to stone when she died. That's
Yeah.
paralysis.
Yeah, it's complications. It's a common complication of fucking a stroke. Oh, look at that. She died the same way Ed died. How funny is that? Because, they wanted to blame her for shit she ain't fucking do. So let that poor woman's soul rest, please. Finally. Get the fuck off her damn back. She didn't do shit. Had to
Yeah,
have.
it's sad because she even had to have her headstone removed.
Yeah, because people are destroying it. There is a lady who has been working on clearing also Bathsheba's name from this movie and what they did to her, and what happened to her headstone to help restore it. Now, I don't know for sure if it was really restored, like we saw that one video, if it was restored, but they're holding it somewhere else so that it doesn't get destroyed. But she is working on getting her headstone restored and left alone. So
Good.
I thought that was really great to see. I forgot her name and website of that situation, but that was really nice.
Yeah, she didn't. Bathsheba didn't deserve any of the hate that Hollywood or the Warrens brought upon her. After lots of research, it is to come to find out that the Warrens were not invited into the Perrons' home. They just kind of showed up because a best friend of Miss Perron happened to attend a convention and told them about it. So they were not even wanted in this situation. And also, the Warrens had sought out a historian beforehand and spoke to a historian who gave them this information that they then spun into their own Hollywood story.
Yeah. The Bathsheba story was actually just a local folklore.
Yeah.
And I think somebody just saw the name Bathsheba and was like, oh, that only a witch can have that name. It's actually Hebrew. Just thought I'd share
Hey,
that.
my name's Hebrew.
I looked up the name Bathsheba and that's meaning.
What does it mean?
Hebrew, and it means beautiful daughter. I think
She was said to be very, very beautiful.
that was the rumor that's why also people called her a witch, is because she was beautiful. Sorry, guys. I'm double checking my.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to take my rat's water bottle.
Oh, it
You're probably going to
happens.
hear him in the background.
It happens. Um.
Barnabas is thirsty.
Oh, sorry. It is Daughter of the Oath, is what it is. So
Oh, I like that even more.
I know. So do I. Which is also probably why people saw her name and was like, "Oh, that sounds witchy."
Mm-hmm.
They can fuck off. Leave her alone. But the bet part means daughter, and the Shiva, which is actually Shiva, is 7, but comes to mean to bind with an oath. So when they're put together, it's creating the meaning of daughter of the oath. So leave her alone. Let her rest. Finally, poor woman got disturbed with bullshit of the Warrens. I'm sorry, I'm very bitter about them because I did my more research on stuff.
All right, going
But
ahead. What?
no, let's take a little step back on what possibly could have been causing the hauntings
Okay, you
of
want
the
to go
land.
that route?
Because,
I don't even know that route because I went down a whole rabbit hole.
well,
I have it, but
the land and what you found out about said land that this said home is built on top of.
so what? The house is built in like 1736 or something like that.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
So my first thought was well, that's really early. That had to been around the time of settlement. So I went to look at what happened in Rhode Island. What was the history behind Rhode Island? And upon entering that, I started to see different kinds of events. So then, of course, then I have to look at a map and figure out where this house is and where these events happen and try to trace to, what crossed what route at what time. And exactly what puts a pin on it is it's known mostly by King Philip's Great War, which was King Philip pinned the Native Americans against the English settlers and other Native Americans that they had entered, I guess, a treaty with, if you will, to basically follow one religion. And the leader of this movement on the English settlers' part was Roger Williams. I think I got that right.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, Roger Williams. Or Williams, sorry, not Williams. But he was basically a very staunch advocate for religious freedom, separation from church and state, and he had very fair dealings with a lot of the Native Americans in the area. But needless to say, it's still King Philip, still abused the situation. And long story short, it was one of the bloodiest wars per capita in U.S. history. So I don't believe any of the Arnold estate family had anything to do with any kind of hauntings of that land, as you have a lot of negative energy right there on that land. And there was even an article I read, forget the guy that wrote it, I'd have to pull it up, but went down that rabbit hole where, and I'm sure Missy's going to address a lot of it, where Andrea Perron had claimed a lot of, she had claimed a lot of stuff and basically said, why would we lie? Why would we lie? We have no reason to lie. We're not making any money of this. But obviously now you are, and you didn't speak up about it while it was going on. So he did actually most of the research, and all I had to do was read his article. But a lot of the things she lied about, and things were called out exactly, like Bathsheba never lived there, and then that she said that Miss Arnold hung herself in the barn. So this guy goes to look at the records, and there's no such death there. There's no such of any of these deaths that anybody lived there. And basically everything that she has said has been debunked. The only one that keeps me hung up is that her little sister referred to, was an Oliver Richardson?
Yes.
which you could easily look up, but I don't know how much access they had to it considering they were young. But I don't know when they conjured the story either. But it was a little boy that basically haunted the house that the little sister had made best friends with and told her that there were 7 dead soldiers in the wall. Well, obviously, yeah, there's probably more than fucking 7 if it's a dead
burial
ground
of
for
a war.
Yeah, especially for Native Americans, because we know how spiritual
And
of human beings they are. Yeah, like I'm sure the ground is haunted. I don't believe that everything that happened in that house happened. I do believe that it is still haunted, but I believe that if you keep encouraging it and open these doors, you're just going to piss some of these spirits off, and they're not going to acknowledge anymore because you're not serving any purpose for them. At this point now it's a theater and they don't want to be a show.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I can see that. I can understand that.
but yeah, and then of course I went all down that rabbit hole and trying to figure out, what happened on that land, and I did, and lo and behold, it's on the Conjuring website. I didn't think to go there first because I don't believe anything somebody puts in front of me about the Conjuring House, so I had to do my own research. But it lines up with everything with King Philip's War. But one thing I did want to say was that when the Warrens did the seance with Carol, and I think it's Carol, right? Carol or Carolyn, something like
Carolyn.
that. They said she started speaking in another language that they couldn't identify. Maybe it was Latin, yada, yada. But honestly, if this situation did happen and they did open a door, which they very well could have, considering some apologies that were made later on, and the fact how pissed off Roger, her husband, was.
Yeah.
Most likely that was the language of the Narragansett Indians. And I can't say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to spell it for you. But it begins with an A and it's really long. It's like blah.
Yeah.
But if that was to actually happen, that would be the only thing that she could have spoke. That would have even related to the circumstance.
That's even if the situation is an actual real situation.
Correct. So, what you got for me?
So, like I said, I did my research. I had to put Bathsheba to rest. And I feel like in my mind and my heart, Bathsheba is put to rest. Now, whether anybody takes my words and actually lets her be, that's on them. And if she does end up haunting your ass, it's your fucking fault. Leave her alone. Although she's not going to. But I feel like I've now put her to rest. So obviously, I had to keep looking up though as to like the house, this hauntings. Is it really haunted? Is it not haunted? What is going on now? I wanted to find information of who lived in that home prior to the parents and who has lived in the home after the parents.
Correct.
And trying to find information about who was there before, I can't find too much.
I found it somewhere.
Well, I know like they've said it was some.
It's like
some man.
It's like
there.
only like 3 families that lived there.
Right. A lot of
but it did not stay in the Arnold family as they claimed.
Not for long, no. But it did stay in the Arnold family for quite a while.
It did.
It eventually did not stay in the Arnold family because it was like women who were widowed or daughters who were never wed got that house. So eventually a new name is going to take over the home.
Correct.
Anyways, so I do know that in some of those interviews that we were watching, Andrea had mentioned some man that was there. He was moving out literally as they were moving in.
Correct.
I could not find his name or anything, and I
can't remember it.
I can't either. All they remember supposedly is he told. What they didn't understand is he thought the home was perfect for their family because it's 5 children and a husband and wife. It's a big house on 200 acres. Perfect for raising a family. So he really was excited, supposedly, that these people are buying this house. The parents are buying this house and how wonderful of an idea it was. But then as he's leaving, looks at their father and says, make sure to always leave the lights on. That already contradicts something. Why would he be so if the house was haunted in the sense of what the parents went through, why would he want children there? That doesn't add up.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, he sold his home. So
Yeah,
maybe that was his way of doing what he felt was right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I sold him a haunted home, but
nah,
good luck, do this. But
I doubt it. Unless he was trying to get rid of it that badly, which I still don't. If he was trying to get rid of it that badly, you'd think he'd be out of it.
correct.
And he wasn't. He was not moved out. I mean,
They were literally using his boxes to pack up his shit, according to
Andrea.
And I don't trust her with the shit.
Not at all. I don't either. But neither here
I
nor
told
there.
you the whole time. I was like, that bitch is lying.
Oh, yeah.
When she says this, she looks to
That
her
way.
right. But when she says this, she looks to her left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, she's using two sides of the brain. Mm-hmm. She is lying her ass off.
Absolutely. So, like I said, I wanted that history. So I kind of approached this Conjuring House like I did Amityville's house.
Okay.
And Lord knows that was bullshit.
Yep.
Completely debunked all the garbage that belonged with that story. Complete bullshit. And who do you know was in that house? Ed and Lorraine. Fuck them. Oh shit. I lost something in a minute here. Hold on.
So are we
Anyway,
talking about the Warrens?
We are going to talk a little bit about the Warrens.
Okay.
So then I got to thinking, the story of The Conjuring, one thing that was always mentioned was that the movie is fabricated from the cases of Ed and Lorraine, right?
Correct.
So I'm like, okay, Ed and Lorraine are part of a lot of cases. A lot of cases. So who are these people? Who are they? I had to know who they are. Who are you?
Frauds.
They are fucking frauds. Fucking frauds. So, first things first, that affair that Ed had, supposedly with the 15-year-old.
Yes.
Did you know that it was 40 years long?
What? No? I'm
Supposedly,
sorry if that was really loud, but
supposedly it was 40 years long.
And
Now, the accuracy of this supposed affair, I'm still not sure because it was all accusations. But here's the story. Here's what Penny, the girl that it happened with, says versus Lorraine's words. Penny was 15 years old when she moved in with Ed and Lorraine because she had nowhere else to go. And that's when it started. And it lasted for 40 years in their home with Lorraine. Lorraine wasn't part of the affair, obviously, because it was an affair. But she was there when it was going on.
And had no fucking clue.
No clue. Now, she claims that Penny was 18 years old when she moved in with them. So Penny was living with them. So regardless of the fact if this child was 15 or 18, she was still in their home.
Correct.
Supposedly, she moved in because, again, she had nowhere to go. And she basically was their live-in house sitter because, they're out around helping people with their haunted houses. So they needed someone to watch their house. The accusations of this affair came out around when The Conjuring was made. However, real funny that I think Warner Brothers is the one that did it. Never just nixed anybody. They didn't cut ties with Ed after finding out that he was having this affair with an underage child. But nowadays, someone says that any little sexual assault thing, and quickly they're willing to cut them out without even any investigation on it.
Correct.
Johnny Depp. But supposedly Lorraine claims it never happened. Ed claims it never happened. So poor Penny was never heard. However, she was 70 when she came out about it. Not saying that you can't come out about it at any time. And there was no real sexual assault that happened other than the fact from her 15 to 18 that was uncalled for. But yeah, supposedly it was a 40-year-long relationship. Right under Lorraine's nose.
40 years. I'm sure there's some kind of proof laying around. I'm not going to seek to investigate it.
I didn't want to seek much more on that.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I believe her.
Well, apparently when The Conjuring was being made, the loving couple that Ed and Lorraine are in the movie is not how they were in real life. And there was a clause that Lorraine purposely made with the movie producer people that they had to make them look like that couple, and that they were never to ever hint in the movie that Ed might have a little wandering eye in the movie. And that happened before the accusations were made. Why'd Lorraine make that a thing if she didn't know that they were already happening?
Obviously, she's a little worried that some secret's going to be spilled with this movie coming out. But
Obviously. So, like I said, I had to know a little bit about Ed and Lorraine. So I looked more into them, who they were. Had to know more. Ed was a World War II Navy vet and highly, highly, highly Roman Catholic. Very religious man who liked to paint.
okay.
Lorraine was also a religious woman, not to the extent of Ed, and claimed to be of clairvoyant, or whatever word she used, seer of light. They got together as a couple, very, very religious couple, again, of Roman Catholics. Not hating on the Roman Catholics, but if you grew up in the Roman Catholics, you know how they can be. They could be quite pushy at times in their beliefs. So before Ed and Lorraine got famous, how they got their start, Ed, for one, is a self-taught demonologist.
Correct.
Never took a class, and I'll cut him some slack on that, because of the times that he started, what classes were available?
His own.
Exactly. I mean, he had to read up on it his own, and he probably learned devils and demons through the Bible. But their original mission was just to prove to the world that Satan is real. And their system that they used on people was faith-fearing. You were possessed because you don't believe in God. And the way to protect yourself from possessions is to make sure your faith is always in check. So it was all everybody else's fault because they didn't believe in God enough. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yet you're going to do very witchcrafty type practices at the same time. Seances and stuff. Real funny. So I'm finding so many contradictions of these people. So for Ed and Lorraine to even get their start with people, this is fucking creepy. Ed would find out from the towns and listen out for anybody who said anything that there was a slight creepy haunted situation that might have happened. You know, your typical, oh my gosh, I swear the doors were moving by themselves today at my house. Ed and Lorraine were listening out for that bullshit. And when they found the house of somebody who happened to make those comments, Ed would sit outside the house and paint it. And after he was done with that painting, he'd hand it to Lorraine, and Lorraine would go up to their door and tell them about this painting of their house that her husband just made to gain access into their home so that they would be purposely invited into these homes. And that's when Lorraine would be talking about how all of a sudden she feels sudden spirits in their house.
Oh my gosh.
And then convince them to follow Jesus.
Like a fucked up version of Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. So she would do these pretend cleansings on their homes and help them cleanse their home of these evil spirits in their house and remind them to have their faith so that the demons don't come back. That is how they gained their traction. They did this for many, many years until finally one of them hit the media. And I'd have to look into which one it was that helped hit the media. I don't exactly 100% remember.
I'm sure it was Ed. He's very...
Yeah, it was Ed that got them famous.
Yeah, he's very... he knows how to command a room, per se.
Yeah, it was Ed. He was very charismatic, they said. And he was very good at it. Now, here's the really fun fact that I also learned about Ed and Lorraine. So there is this thing called the New England's Paranormal Research Headquarters. That was founded by Ed and Lorraine in 1952. It is now ran and owned by their child.
Oh,
And
I thought it was their son-in-law.
it is their son-in-law and their daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. Who he speaks so highly of them, which honestly, I looked at their website. Their website's fucking hilarious, mind you. It is money, 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 money. They want your money. So much money. I mean, it's I'm looking at it right now. And it's purchase tickets now. It's the first click button on the website, right? And then it tells them what we do. Primarily, this is led by Tony, who is their son-in-law, who was all taught of every little thing that Ed and Lorraine know how to do. Here's the thing. If Lorraine's stuff was legit, she cannot fucking teach you that.
Yeah, you can't teach to be clairvoyant.
Exactly. And then it talks about their cases, explore their events, education, and it become an insider. Email us our story. And then it's like, want to learn more? Click here and give us more of your fucking money. They're jokes. They're scammers and con.
This reminds me of the article you sent me the other day. If they were so good at doing what they were doing, and Kelly Osbourne, who is now finding out that she may be a medium or a clairvoyant, whatever you want to call it, why didn't she seek out one of the biggest names in the industry? Because they're fakes.
Exactly.
No, she sought out actual help to figure out what the hell's going on with her. Why is she experiencing these things?
Right. Exactly.
She sought out a professional. The Warrens are not professionals.
No, they're not. They're professional scam artists.
Yes.
So, of course, like I said, I had to keep my digging, right? Mm-hmm. And I came across, where the hell did it go? Oh, it's back up here. I came across these things where it was talking about like 11, this article here was talking about 11 things about 11 things you need to know about the legendary paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine. And of course, it goes on to how they're, the investigators that served to inspire the Conjuring and how they grew up. It was an early start into their paranormal interests. And apparently, Ed had a near-death experience in World War II, which is what pushed him to even marry Lorraine. That sounds like your typical war story, in my opinion. And then the paintings that he loved to do, and that's how they got people in. And supposedly, the Warrens tried to rule out all logical and physical explanations before agreeing to take on cases. So basically, they'd look at it and be like, yeah, your case isn't scary enough for us. We don't want it. That's all they would do. They needed to find something that was the most, easy to persuade people is a real fucking story. The first case that garnered their immediate attention and what got them kind of really going took place in their hometown in Connecticut in 1974. And that was because a psychic friend, Mary, contacted them and informed them of paranormal activity that was happening in Bridgeport with the residents Jerry and Laura Gooden. And once the news got out of the poltergeist affecting the house, crowds began to form outside the house. And this was the first case where the Warrens experienced such a large media presence as they tried to conduct their work.
So they were winning, so they continued it.
Yep. So Ed and Lorraine both were devoted Roman Catholics. And Ed was even...
That's not devoted, though.
No, not at all.
I think we need to rephrase that.
I know.
That's not devotion.
I know, but that's what people are talking about. That's what they say.
Devoted Roman Catholics don't do that.
No, the Warrens worked closely with Catholic churches during multiple exorcisms, and their faith played an important part of their investigations. They weren't doing exorcisms.
You can't do an illegal exorcism. Yes. That's not how it fucking works.
No, you can't. And
he doesn't have connections to the Vatican like that.
No.
Not even a priest does.
No, and we were definitely talking about the fact that, even with Annalise, she's the only one so far that I've come across that it took forever for them to get somebody to help her with an exorcist or an exorcism, which should have never fucking happened in the first place. That poor girl would still be here. But regardless.
No, they're just so full of shit.
They are.
So full of shit.
They are.
So we're talking about The Conjuring right now.
Yeah.
So just, Great movie. Great movie.
Oh,
Like
absolutely. It's a great story.
Hollywood did it well. I love the movies. I love the whole Conjuring series. I love Annabelle. I love Amityville. I love all of them.
Yeah.
Conjuring 2 is actually based on
A different story.
Another file that Ed and Lorraine supposedly participated in.
Mm-hmm.
But since we're talking about it, let's go on ahead and introduce the fact that Ed and Lorraine participated in this when afterwards, not only the sisters who were in there, the Enfield family or whatever they're called, they admitted to they were just playing the whole thing. Nothing was actually haunted. When somebody turned their back, they would throw crucifixes or move a dresser or whatever was being claimed.
So that must have been the girls from a picture I saw. And the caption said so and so being thrown from her bed during the seance.
Yes.
It legit looks like a child jumping on a bed.
Correct.
And everybody's just standing there
they admitted
smiling.
to it.
Anyways.
They admitted to it.
I know. Well, here's my fun fact, right? That I had to get to about Lorraine. Because this is the one that really bothers me the most, is Lorraine. She pisses me off so much. So while they're gaining their popularity, in an effort to prove her abilities were not fake, Lorraine underwent scientific testing by a parapsychologist, that's a hard one to say, at UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
By a doctor named Thelma Moss. So I'm like, okay, you gave me a doctor's name. And it said that after extensive studies, they determined Lorraine was a light trance medium. Okay, who's Thelma? Had to dig into that one. Went down that fucking rabbit hole. Thelma's an actress from Broadway. That is where she started. She started as an actress on Broadway. She worked her way up in the industry of acting. And eventually, she crashed and burned and did not feel well, unfortunately, mentally, and got herself help. And I'm so happy the help that she got. Let me tell you that first and foremost. The help she got, which I think is actually a great therapy, unfortunately, our government has taken away because of people like Thelma. It worked. And it was LSD therapy. And there's a lot of fucking studies to prove on how that actually worked. And so many people who were going through so much bad things, especially when it came to PTSD, they were working on it with shrooms. And it was wonderful therapy. It was a wonderful thing. But heaven forbid we have things that work. Can't have things that work because you don't profit off of it. Because then people are better. However, after this situation, Thelma Moss did decide to go back to school. And she did get her doctorate in psychology and got a PhD. And that is who did this testing. But Thelma's biggest thing that she liked so much is because the LSD therapy worked so well for her, she wanted to talk more things fringed. Things that are out of norm. Things that are weird in psychology. And I really believe when it came to Lorraine, it works more in her favor to just be like, yeah, totally she has that. I gave her some LSD and it worked. Like I think that's what happened there. I don't think there's no scientific proof you could do to prove what an actual medium can fucking do.
No. There's education, yes, but there's nothing beyond that. It's not well, even at this time, it's not well educated enough. Nonetheless, that period of time.
Right. So, like I said, I once I saw that, I'm like, oh, now they're throwing science in to prove that Lorraine is this medium. So I had to go down that rabbit hole. And then, like you said again, there was the family that did say, like, no, we were totally fucking around. Now, if you look up anything about the Perron family in the first Conjuring, the only person's name you will find is Andrea.
Correct.
There is not a damn word I can find from any of the other sisters.
No, every now and then you'll get some input, but that's about it.
And that is also concerning to me because when I did Amityville, those two boys both spoke and was like, the house was not haunted, guys. George was. something was up with him. And that's why I think a person can be haunted, not a home. I don't even think that anybody in that house was haunted exactly.
No, is
And
somebody in the house? No.
And here's the thing. I don't even think the house was fucking haunted. And I'll get into that in a second from just my rabbit hole of shit. Sorry guys. I hope you all got your fucking water with this here. I was getting just so much on my chest and I'm getting this all out and now I'm starting to come down a bit. I lost my thought for a second here, so go.
All right. You find your thought.
I will.
Did you find your thought?
I did.
So, I don't believe I believe areas can be with spirits. Mm-hmm. I believe homes can have spirits living in there. Mm-hmm. Some are there, lots are there because they're stuck and they need help.
Correct.
Majority of them are there because they're stuck and they need help. And unfortunately, some of them are strong enough to let people know, hey, help me. And some of them are not, and they'll be there for a long time because all they can do is open a fucking cabinet. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to think anything of that cabinet. You're going to think, I thought I closed that. I guess I didn't. And you're going to close it. And that's it. The land, I would not doubt, is spiritually tainted because of what happened with that war.
Bloodshed. Yeah.
That's disgusting. And honestly, what I would super fucking love is to find someone who is really great in Native American history and talk about that situation.
Absolutely.
That I would love to know that history, and I think everybody should have to learn that fucking history. But I won't go down that rabbit hole.
Well, I did look up the tribe that was there, the Narragansetts, and I can't remember the other one. I don't want to butcher it, but I did look it up, and there's actually it's still a tribe that exists, but it's still only 600 strong.
Oh, that's so fucking sad.
Mm-hmm. It's really fucking sad. It's really fucking upsetting.
It's very fucking upsetting, and that's another rabbit hole. I could, there's a tangent I could go on a whole other episode. We're going to try to keep it to what we're talking about now, though, but my heart goes out to that tribe and what was done to them. I'm going to collect myself on that one. Anyways, so going back, as I was saying, I tried to find out people who lived in that home before, and I tried to find who lives in the home after them. Because the parents lived there for 10 years. And if they were going through what they fucking went through, I mean, for Christ's sake, the Lutz left after 28 days and they went through nothing compared to what the parents supposedly went through. I mean, for crying out loud, they had a damn seance where she was possessed in front of everybody. Who coincidentally only talks about it is, again, Andrea. Mm-hmm. But she wasn't alone. Her little sister was in there watching it secretly too. But I couldn't really find information. I'm sure if I dug deep enough on the property itself, you can look actually up, I think, and tell you like when it was bought and sold and all that other kind of shit.
Oh yeah, I did.
I didn't go down that rabbit hole too much. However, I know you did. However, I believe the current owners' names are Corey and Jennifer.
No.
Okay, so they sold it now recently as well.
Yes, the current owner is Jacqueline Nuez.
That's right. Well,
and she purchased it in 2022.
Okay, so she must have purchased it from Corey and Jennifer.
She purchased it from Corey and Jennifer, who purchased it from Norma Sutcliffe.
Yep.
Who had lived there since 1987.
She lived there for 32 fucking years.
Yes, and it operated as a daycare in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what I found, though, was about Corey and Jennifer. Corey and Jennifer were paranormal enthusiasts.
Yes.
They called themselves ghost hunters as well. And thought that they basically had a piece of paranormal history and used it as such.
Correct.
They're the ones who kind of turned it into the money cash bag it is today. They described that they didn't see too much activity per se, other than doors opening and closing on their own, footsteps knocking, the disembodied voices. And he even claimed, Corey even claimed that he saw like this black mist that happened to move about in the room. That's about it. Now, Miss Norma lived there for 32 fucking years. 32 fucking years. Not once did she experience anything.
But she's also a two-faced liar, because I watched another interview that she did, and she's with Andrea, and she clearly states that she has.
Yeah, she's with Andrea.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go, she's like, oh yeah, she claims the same thing as Corey, that this is the experiences that she's gotten. And even the Black Mist, her and her husband or boyfriend, whatever it was, because I don't believe they were married, that they experienced these things too as well. But it was nothing of what the parents went through.
Yeah. I mean, she claimed to experience.
But here's the thing. She recanted it when The Conjuring came out because she was being harassed.
Yeah.
The video that I watched of her and Andrea was recorded early 2000s, maybe late 90s. Where she had also had said, yes, these things happen in the home. It comes with the home. Nothing's negative, though. But it's just part of the charm of the home. But what I also believe is that she was holding workshops then, cooking workshops. She was also operating as a daycare that failed. I think she was doing it for publicity.
Yeah, she needed money, just like everybody else. Everybody did to that home that the Warrens and Andrea are doing. Because,
Correct.
like I said, you look up any of the other parents, nobody else's names come up. Nobody. Not a statement, nothing. The only thing like we said before, that has come up is the youngest, I think it was the youngest, April, had a friend named Oliver Richardson. So I'm like,
and
okay.
she was pretty set on that.
I'm like, okay, who's Oliver Richardson? Now, they portrayed, supposedly, there was a young boy. Oliver Richardson in Rhode Island is a real person who was murdered. He was a black gentleman who worked on the farm.
Okay.
He was, I guess, being sassy, and the man that murdered him claimed self-defense. He thought that Oliver was coming at him with a pitchfork, so he thought the best thing to do is grab an axe and took it to the temple. Yes.
This happened on the property?
I can't find specifically if it was on that property. It seems like it was. Again, it could be also close by, but there was a gentleman in that area named Oliver Richardson that was murdered. However, he was not a young boy. He was 30 when this happened. Now, does that mean that he isn't presenting his spirit as a young child because she was a young child and he wanted to show that he's a safe person?
Maybe.
Maybe that can happen. Do I believe spirits can do that? Absolutely. But that is an actual person that did die in Rhode Island in that area. And I thought it was a fucked up situation because bro got off.
Nope.
Yep.
Unfortunately, those were the times we came from.
Unfortunately. Do I believe that house is haunted in the sense of what the Warrens have made it into? Absolutely not. Am I seeing people who are going to keep pretending like it is? Absolutely. Why? It makes money. So again, I go back to my original statement. Can people be possessed? No. Not in the way you all think it can be. Are they possessed in a way that is hidden and toxic and even scarier than what Hollywood can portray? Abso-fucking-lutely. You'll never know until it's too late.
Correct. I agree 100%.
The Warrens used faith as a fear-mongering thing on people because they did tell almost every single person they came across that you just don't have enough faith in God, and that's what left you open to be possessed. There is also a story I found about the Perrons that really kind of almost made sense. It sounded very similar to the Lutzes in the sense that George was a controlling asshole who did dabble in the occult. I believe that. And he probably opened some shit up and himself had some bad spirits following him. So I believe the boys when they say that they saw some shit. But they also said it didn't matter where we were at. We saw shit that just can't be explained. So it was, whether it was the Amityville house or it was Brooklyn downtown, they were going to see some shit because he was also an angry man. The story that I found about the parents prior to moving into their home is that Roger was a very angry man
Yes, he was.
and a very religious man.
I've read opposite, but
But because of the war, he became an alcoholic. And
okay.
that is what fed into more of his anger. He apparently also was a Nixon lover. His wife was not. She was a very quiet, gentle woman who birthed the 5 children for her husband. She did not like Nixon, thought he was a dick. I mean, he is, so she ain't wrong there.
Yeah.
And he didn't like that. He didn't like her opinions. He didn't like things she had to say or do or whatever. So he was also violent. And what better way to keep people isolated and under your control than to move them out into the middle of fucking nowhere?
What also better way to bring out bad energy than somebody
Violence.
that's producing it.
Exactly. Hence probably why Roger also didn't want the Warrens there, is then they might see he's a bad husband.
I mean,
She might have asked
could
for
have been a
help.
situation.
She could have asked for help in that situation and can't have that. I'm not saying that's an actual true story. This is not my words. It's
Yes,
just an
he said, she said.
it is a he said, she said. It's hard to kind of believe if he was as mean as he was because everything else I have heard is that I did hear for sure he did not want the Warrens there. He did kick them out of the home. The Warrens were
Correct.
never fucking invited by the
No.
parents to that house. They did not ask them to come. The Warrens making it seem like, oh, they called upon us just like all these other fucking people. No, they did not.
No, they did not.
There's also proof that the Warrens apparently told the writers of fucking Amityville how to write the story to make it sound better.
Doesn't surprise me. It's just like when Lorraine, I guess, apologized to Andrea at the initial screening of The Conjuring, saying that she was sorry they never meant to get that far. That her and Lorraine were just, or her and Ed were just in above their head.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, because you're fakes. And if anything did happen in that house, it probably manifested off of the energy that was playing into it.
Probably, but at this point, I still don't believe that house is haunted. I think it's a money thing, and I think that if you think it's haunted, your brain is going to play tricks on you because your brain can do that. Is it a beautiful home? Abso-fucking-lutely. Do I want to go fucking touch that house? Abso-fucking-lutely do I want to be there right now. Leave Bathsheba alone. Fuck the Warrens. I hate them. They're lying sacks of shit. Sorry to their daughter. Don't mean to badmouth your parents. And Andrea, you are a liar. You're
Yes.
playing the same fucking game that they are. You're looking for your money. And I want to hear from everyone else. And you don't.
I do believe, maybe not the house, but I do believe the land
Exactly.
is haunted. I do believe that it has manifested some movements within the home, but I don't think it's anything to the extreme that you would go out and call for an exorcism or a seance. If anything, a seance would be an awful idea. But I do think there's a lot of energy in that home that eventually needs to be addressed. I think a lot of it has been addressed, and I think that's why a lot of it has been put to bed, and you don't see a lot of the activity maybe that you once would see. That maybe not the Perrons, but some of the other families that have lived there and moved out. Because in between, right before the Perrons bought it, it went through many hands in a short amount of time.
It did. And
So I don't doubt that maybe there is something there, but I don't think it's due to the house. It's obviously due to the land.
And I could see that. I could agree with that. Like I said, it's sitting on something that's very sacred.
I mean, the
And
Arnold family had a lot of mishaps in their family,
they
but none of
did.
them happened in that home. None of them
No.
happened on that land. And it wasn't bizarre enough to be like headlines like a hanging in the barn, as Andrea claimed. There was no hanging in the barn. She's a liar. She's a
No.
liar.
Come on. She said it was like some 90-year-old woman.
And I
And
don't understand why you would say these things when you can look it up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Supposedly, other things that happened on that land was a bunch of rapes and murders and other types of things. Do I think the Arnolds were probably shady? Absolutely. They owned a big piece of land. That was
Well,
just
that one is
handed to
true.
them.
There was a rape and murder of a young woman.
Yeah,
there.
she was 11.
Yes.
I did read that.
That was true.
I didn't like that part.
But yes,
the Arnold,
that is about as negative as you get there besides outside of the war.
yeah. But no, I don't. I don't even believe what the parents went through was real. Absolutely not.
I believe they experienced something, but if it was that bad, why would they stay there for 10 years? I don't care how broke you are.
They stayed there for 10 years, and the only thing that I have heard about the other children, they didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Especially the one who made the friend with Oliver. She didn't want to leave. She wanted him to come with her. He couldn't. Because, like I said, people are stuck and need help.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just there for fucking funsies to taunt and haunt and hurt people.
It's like people, like, you forget, like, spirits. If you want to put it into scientific terminology, spirits react with a magnetic wave.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we use EMF field readers and whatnot to study the paranormal.
Their energy.
I think it totally has to do with somebody else's magnetic energy that they give off. Because if you put two magnets together and you put the same sides together, you get two norths, they don't attract.
Mm-hmm.
But you do it the other way and you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why so many of us can walk through life and not experience these energies, because we're opposites. We're not on the same kinetic field.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may have some that are like, "Ooh, I think I have something," and it's kind of like that jolt what you get with a magnet, but then it pulls off because it's not a match.
Yeah, it's those people who
It's the same thing.
who have the cabinet doors are opened, or even
It just depends on the magnetic field, and I think you can find spirits anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, do you have the right magnetic fields, the two polar axis? Do you have them in the right spots at the right time?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think there's a lot of spirits on that land where some people could have experienced because of how many magnetic people have walked through that home.
I could see what you're saying. I can see it.
So I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But Andrea, no, 100% full of shit. Warren's full of shit.
Yeah, I can't even find any statements made by the parents.
I did find some made by Roger. It was more so, he didn't really want to talk about it. He doesn't believe in it. And basically, at the end of the day, the Warrens are never welcome in his home again after what they put his wife through. That was basically the end of that statement. He never agreed to anything happening. He never disagreed.
Right.
Just basically that he stated his hatred and that the Warrens can go fuck off.
To you, my friend.
I mean, thank you, Ed, for serving this country, but
Kindly fuck
you're
off.
still a shit person.
Yeah.
I will only thank you for that because I have the utmost respect
absolutely.
for anybody who serves this country.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I will thank you for serving, and besides that, you can rot in pieces.
Yeah, I absolutely agree on that. I have that one respect as well.
Yeah, especially for taking advantage of a 15-year-old, or even if she was 18, it's still a child. And
Nonetheless, you had an
I'm
affair.
gonna shut up.
Nonetheless, you had an affair, regardless. Yeah. And for a religious Catholic man, that is a badass sin. So, yeah. Thanks for that fucking rabbit hole. Thank you, Toasties, for coming down this weird journey that we just made that we were not intending on having.
No.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Now we got to find another one.
Yeah. We got to get one more spooky in. So if you guys know one, quickly hit us up. Let us know. Because next Sunday is the last Sunday of spooky season.
Yes, it is.
So we got to get one in. And if we go into the beginning of November with the spooky season, I don't fucking care. I'll keep this rolling.
We can turn November into spooky.
Well, I mean, if you want to go into the whole religion of spooky season in general, it goes into November anyways.
Yes, it does.
So there's that. Suck on that, people.
Maybe we'll change this to spooky shenanigans instead of toasted shenanigans. I'm just kidding. We're not changing our name.
No, it's still gonna be toasted. But I mean, the shenanigans are always gonna keep coming. I mean, you never know what our next tangent might even be. Let me tell you though, getting backtracked onto Kelly, I saw that. First off, I felt dumb that I didn't know that.
Why?
I just did because I felt like I knew it.
Because your bestie is an Osborne fanatic.
Well, I did know that. I know you're an Osborne fanatic. No, I felt.
But
dumb.
Is that why you felt dumb? Because
I felt like it was something I knew before, but I didn't know. I'm like, wait.
Oh my gosh. So you and all the toasties, because I'm going to support my man right here, Jack fucking Osborne. By the way, you're fucking hot, just in case you ever listen to this. Anyways.
He's a married man.
He can still receive compliments.
This is true.
Not like I'm like popping into his DMs. But
that
anyways.
we know of. Jack, check it out.
But you need to go, if you have HBO Max, go to HBO Max and watch his terror series.
The Jack Haunts or whatever.
Yeah, he has like a whole terror series. He does all kinds of shit, even with like, I think Sasquatch hunting, which was totally cool, but terrifying at the same time.
Oh, did you know that supposedly Lorraine thought she had a conversation with Bigfoot through?
Okay, and me too. Me too.
You know, you should be calling Sean Bigfoot.
I mean, everybody deserves a nickname.
I don't want to know your guys' kinks.
But you guys should totally go watch it. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. Kelly, at first, I was like, no, she's faking all this. She's definitely faking this for attention. Mm-hmm. And after watching her for a while, because I've never been a big fan of Kelly Osbourne. Love the Osbournes.
Because I have been.
I haven't been.
I know you haven't, but
I'll explain that off topic because I don't want to call anybody out on this podcast. But I was not a fan of hers. I thought she was completely faking it. And then I realized after, because I like studying psychology, so you understand how the mind reacts. Just like when I was looking at Andrea and I was like, no, that bitch is fucking lying. She's looking this way and then that way. Yeah, I was like, no. I realized Kelly was authentic, and I am so proud of her, not only for her sobriety and where she's gotten to today,
fuck yes,
but also for researching and figuring out, am I, instead of just claiming it.
Gotta give her that credit.
Yes. Yep. So kudos to you, Kelly Osbourne, and kudos to you, Jack Osbourne, because those shows are fantastic, and I do honestly believe they're 100% authentic.
And sorry, Sharon, she still wants to fuck your man. In case all of them are listening. He still loves you, Ozzy.
I do love Ozzy Osbourne. I don't know what it is, but I've always had an attachment to him.
Always.
But yes.
And now my kids do.
You're welcome.
Uh-huh. I like Ozzy too. Don't get me wrong. I've been enjoying listening to them. But yeah, Kelly, let's hook up. If you are listening, I want to have a conversation. I want to talk. Mm-hmm. I want to talk because I want to talk.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't got a chance to, because I'm promoting the shit out of them right now, go check out their podcast.
And ours.
Right after this one, you better listen to us first, though.
I was going to say, if you have not listened to all 30-some episodes that we now have out, you don't get to listen to nobody else.
Yeah, no, you better catch up, binge the fuck out of this, And then go check out the Osbournes podcast because it is definitely worth a listen.
Absolutely. All right.
All right.
Well, this is great. I'm glad to put this to bed. I feel so much better for Bathsheba.
You look relieved compared to when we first got on.
Good. I'm glad. I feel it now.
Literally.
I feel it could be the mead.
It's like 50% is the mead.
50% is the mead. No.
100%.
No. I do feel better. Like I said, that rabbit hole and what I was going down, it was putting me in a bad spot, as well as my outside life. But I'm good now. I'm gonna go to bed now. I got work tomorrow and other
Ew.
fun stuff, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So
Hey guys, toasties. If you listen to our podcast more and tell your neighbor, Missy won't have to go to work tomorrow.
yeah, same with the Johnsy. She won't have to either. And like I said, if you're listening to this already after Saturday, yeah, I hope if I saw you at the mead thing, hey, what's up? I may or may not have said I'd shout you out, so hi. But until next time, guys, make sure you like, follow, share all the thingamabobs, hit the bell.
Tell your neighbor.
Tell all your neighbors. And let them know about us. Because you're great and you're here listening. So you got to let everybody else know that you listen to us because you're great.
And we love you.
We do. But until next time, you guys. Bye.
Bye.